This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, August 25th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
And welcome to the HomeTech Podcast all about home automation, home technology, and HomeTech Happy Hours. Woo! So if you haven't heard, HomeTech Happy Hour, go over to HomeTech.fm/happy hour. It's really easy to find. Or if you just go to HomeTech.fm, there's a nice little banner at the top that says, please RSVP for the HomeTech Happy Hour at CEDIA 2023. We are going to have that on Friday, September 8th, for sometime for like 6 to 8 p.m. at the Rock Bottom Restaurant and Brewery. It's right around the corner from the Convention Center. A number of people have RSVP'd. We're looking for more to, hit it off. We haven't really done any like press releases or anything, but I think that's all coming. And we have a couple of happy hour hosts that have been so gracious to drop in some money. So I want to go through them right now. Grid Connect. We all know them from a friend of the show, Adam Justice. ConnectSense products like the in-wall smart outlets, the Internet Rebooter. I think he's having a lot of good luck with that. The in-wall smart outlets are actually pretty cool. They have some 20 amp options on there, which you don't run across too often. At least you didn't used to. And then let's see, Pixelvault and Menlo Marketing. They're a marketing / website development duo here. It's two companies, but they're basically also teaming up to give away a Vito Pro Pack Tech MC backpack at our HomeTech Happy Hour. So come check that out. You have to be in attendance, which means you have to RSVP and let us know you're coming to actually win the backpack. And if you've ever gotten your hands on one of those things, they're pretty sweet. So they also have a booth at the CDO Expo at 4106. And you can learn about how and why integrators choose Pixelvault and Menlo Marketing every year. They're a small company and basically hyper-focused on helping integrators work on their website and marketing in-house. So I think, TJ, you have had some good things to say about them in the past because I think you use them, right?
Yeah, super good. Paul over at Pixelvault, he always responds super quick to all my website questions and updates and everything like that. He built me a really cool TV estimator on the website. So if you want to check that out, you can go to connectu.tech. He put the scheduling in there and all that good stuff. And then Menlo Marketing, Dennis over there, he does all my social media and my email blast and door hangers and all that kind of advertising stuff. And they're both really involved with the integrator businesses. Pixelvault has a bunch of stock photos and stuff like that came in super handy. And Dennis just knows how a lot of that stuff works. So both really good people to team up with if you're looking for a new website or advertising.
Awesome. And we got Chow Mein coming back for, I don't know, probably the third time. I wouldn't say year in a row because we didn't do this in a couple of years, but Chow Mein's definitely helped out in the past. And they are one of the industry's leading software development houses for home automation systems. So they do apps, drivers, modules, plugins for literally every home automation platform, pro home automation platform on the market. If you don't know about Chow Mein and what they're doing to extend integrations and that kind of thing, check them out. Chow Mein Soft, I think it's chowmeinsoft.com, or we'll put a link on the website as well. Thanks to Alan and the team. They will actually be there as well. They enjoy partying and they're good guys to chat with. And then late entry here, Blackwire is the company I work for. We're sponsoring as well. We've got a couple of things. We have a booth at 4304 on the show floor. If you want to stop by, we are launching a new blacklight design tool for linear lighting systems. We've got some enterprise networking heat map stuff we're going to show off. Multi-viewer Pro and Video Wall Pro drivers for Control 4, kind of the two big things for Control 4 we have out. We've got a driver for the Flare Smart Vents and the MTX Universal Driver, Mixer Driver, which we showed at Infocom. So all that'll be at the booth. We've got a giant booth, 4304. Come by and check that out. And that's going to wrap that up. If you want to sponsor the show, if you still want to be on the list and get one of these plugs like we've done here, and as much we can before the show, before the party, but also I think we're going to have some TVs there at the happy hour. We should be able to put whatever we want up on those TVs. I'm told we can put whatever we want up on the TVs. So it may be like logos or pictures or whatever. Just get with me after you're sponsored. We'll figure something out. So I'll make it happen. And if you want to help out the happy hour, but don't want to do the full sponsorship, we have a happy hour friend level at $25. You want to just kind of throw some money into the tip jar to help out with the drinks that are be passing around. And we've got some hors d'oeuvres and food and stuff we're going to order as well. That's available for $25 at the same link, HomeTech.fm/happy hour. So go check that out. I, for one, am just looking forward to partying with everybody after we get past all the commerce section. So I'm excited to see everybody for the first time in a couple of years. And I'll also see Gavin for the first time, because Gavin is actually going to be there.
I know you guys are doubting me, but
I was.
Yeah, I was surprised because you waited till like yesterday to book your plane ticket.
Week.
So I mean, you can't really blame us for doubting.
As bad as yesterday. Yeah,
it's only Tuesday right now when we're recording this. So last week was only a couple days ago.
Saturday. Yeah. Are you registered for CDA, Gavin?
Yeah, I just did.
just like 5 minutes ago before the show.
Right before the show. So, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening. I'm actually excited to meet all the people that, we talk to on a regular basis, or, you hear about, it's weird because I'm not even in this industry. I'm just a fan of it. But all these products you constantly hear about, and it's good to see. And I already have some questions lined up for certain booths. I'm going to start some drama out there. Tell them, so-and-so was saying something about you, Josh AI, over there, and we'll get things going.
Gavin might be the first person to ever get kicked out of CD.
At least you'll remember me.
Snap AV is going to get their security guards and be like, get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
Who's he registered under? HomeTech FM? Yeah, ban them too.
Yeah.
Whoops.
You're going to regret that now.
Yeah. What have I done? What monster ever created? So if you aren't attending the show, but want to, keep an eye on the happenings and things, we'll be posting some pictures over on our Mastodon server, right? Because I forget that we have this because I'm just constantly on it, just during the day. If I want to check social media, I don't go to the X site or whatever it is anymore. I don't go to Facebook. I go over to the Mastodon server that we have at HomeTech.social and, look around, see what's going on. I see some fun stuff on there. I saw that Paulus got a laser cutter. Paulus over at Home Assistant.
Yes.
That looks fun.
Yeah.
That looks like a lot of fun, actually.
But you know what I find about Mastodon? I find the engagement so much better on Mastodon than on the X site, because you post something about 3D printing and I get boosts and likes and comments and stuff. It's almost like the X site filters me out. Like I don't make, I really like Mastodon for, engaging conversations.
Yeah, it is I guess the filtering is done from the person that signed up, right? So like you're filtering who you want to hear from, and there's no algorithm involved. There's no fancy like, oh, you want to hear this person more because they have more clout or whatever. No, it's just like a straight feed of people talking on there. And if you follow people with like interests and that kind of thing, you definitely will be able to find that 3D printer crowd or whatever in there. So it's actually working really well for me too. Like it's much more calm than what I see over there on Twitter or what I remember, because I haven't been over there honestly in months. Other than to check a few things out on like the HomeTech site. And I guess we had an integration with our website and the Twitter thing. I guess that's dead. I check it off every week to publish that the show has gone up, but I guess that's probably stopped working because it didn't look like our account had any tweets coming off of it. So, oh well.
You probably got to pay like $5 million a year to do that now.
Yeah, so I'm not doing it.
We don't make that much money, so.
No, not at all. But if you want to help us make that much money, HomeTech.fm/happy hour or /support, you can learn how you can support the show for as little as $1 a month. Anyway, commerce is over. The Mastodon server, that's really fun. Like, just head on over. You can sign up. You do have to put something in the like, why do you want to join thing? Just put like, I listen to HomeTech or something like that. Or Gavin is great, and Gavin will instantly approve you because he's the one that approves people before I can get to them. If you want to know who's approving all of the people that are on our instance of Mastodon, it's Gavin.
Yeah, I approve everybody.
Just sweet talk him.
And if you got rejected, that was Seth's doing. Don't talk to me.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Honestly, it probably was me. All right. Well, we do have a couple of interesting HomeTech headlines, a bunch of new products this week, and things to talk about. So what do you say we get started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Well, a little bit of follow-up from last week. We finally got the post over there on the Internet of Things blog. Stacey Higginbotham, the host of the Internet of Things podcast and creator of the same newsletter, is stepping back from those roles. While not a complete goodbye, she'll continue to post over on Blue Sky, which is oddly a competitor to Mastodon that I guess not many people have access to. But Stacey, if you want to join our Mastodon instant, HomeTech.social, come on over. We'll welcome you with open arms. And she may send out some occasional newsletters. So I guess it's not quite ending. But it's interesting. She posted a long blog post about like what her motivations were to get started and doing this. And they started that podcast up, I think, a few months after we started ours up here over at HomeTech. Jason and I got together. So it was kind of an interesting time that they got things up and going. Yeah, back in 2016. It was interesting. I guess what I got out of it is there was a little bit of, cynicism that crept in and burnout that crept in, which I totally understand, because this industry is as many steps forward as we get. There's a lot of steps back that happen. And it's kind of what I have. That's why I have the little joke, and not so much of a joke because it is a big giant tub full of equipment over here, but I have the IoT graveyard because I knew going into all this is that some of these companies aren't going to make it out. They're not going to make it past a year or two and they'll be gone. And sure enough, I've got a Revolve hub over there still, like it's still in the package. I've got all sorts of fun stuff to dig through in there. I even have, not for nothing. I've got the original Amazon Echo in there because, well, I don't use it anymore and I don't expect it'll go away, but I've got it in there because it was like one of the original ones. I need to take all those things out one of these days and document everything that I did. Eventually,
you should just bring them to Cedia and put it on display at the happy hour stuff.
Yeah, nobody will know what any of that stuff is. It's like, what is this?
It's the perfect place for everybody to know what it is.
Got a Staples Connect thing in there. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. Anyway, sad to see them go out of the podcasting space. If you're tuning in and listening to us, what we do over here, we cover a bunch of stuff. We cover like the IoT stuff. There's been a lot more IoT type news, like in the consumer side, than there has been on the pro side. Obviously, all three of us are going to be at the pro show here in September. But here on our show, we try and cover both the pro side, both the DIY side, and of course, there's a big like melting point in between that just can be either pro or DIY. Hopefully, if you're just joining the show, that's what we're all about here. And if you haven't heard us before, or you have, and we're a little bit different these days, but we try and cover all angles of anything and everything related to the home automation area. So that's all I got to say about that. Anybody else have any comments about the IoT podcast?
Stacey and Kevin will be missed, and I can understand I know she puts a lot more work into it than we do. Right, on a weekly basis. Yeah, a heck of a lot more, like I'm pretty sure. So, she's going to have a lot of free time now, probably, find some good activities, and hopefully she'll be back.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and move on here. We've got some, that was kind of follow-up for a little bit of last week, but wanted to touch on it this week because she did put that long blog post on there. We'll put a link to it in our show notes as well. It's an interesting article that came over on Insider, and it's all about again, here comes the cynicism and broken promises that we have, right? The tech's pursuit of profitability has basically led to a bunch of broken promises. And that spans a couple of areas that this article covers. But one of them I thought was interesting was how they were talking about streaming services like Netflix and Disney. They're all raising prices and making these weird, confusing, complicated bundles that are just kind of the same thing as what cable companies were doing to us before. And they're introducing ads into all these things, right? The article does go on and to talk about like how ride sharing companies like Uber and Lyft are becoming just as pricey as taxis due to increased fares, and the cloud computing costs and security benefits are kind of eroding. So Salesforce, Microsoft 365 are raising prices. There's all sorts of things like things that we thought were cheap. All the prices are going up for kind of really no reason other than like, well, these companies have basically decided it's time to stop playing around with the money and start making money. And so they're going to start raising their prices on this. I thought it was interesting in here, the cost of the top US streaming service is rising. Now it's nearing the cost of the average US cable TV package. In the past, we've been able to save money by doing streaming. Now, not so much. And Yeah, I think this is kind of an fortunate turn of events where we once were getting good deals out of this stuff. Now, not so much anymore.
I'm not going to say I told you so, but I think a lot of people in the industry were predicting this was going to happen. Like it was kind of obvious. They were going to get you in at the cheap price, and then eventually they'd have to jack up the price. And as more and more services come online, they have to find ways of like, being better than the next one and attracting new viewers. And one way they do it is to have bigger blockbuster shows on their platform, which costs them more money, which they got to get the money from us to pay for it. So it's now at the point where, you know, you're comparing it to what you were paying for cable. And I think people may even consider just going back to cable, you know, and that's going to be like a tough decision because there's certain shows that you can only get on some of these streaming services. Mm-hmm. So, but if anything, I think people will be cutting down on the number they subscribe to and may just stick with one, whether it's Netflix or whichever one has their favorite show on it. You know, and it's not just this industry. I'm seeing this in many other industries. We were talking about this at work where, you know, they give you initial, like a price and you're like happy and you think you're saving money. But once they get you into their ecosystem, they start adding on all these extra things you need and it starts building up and every year it gets more expensive. And this is just the way it is. And I think IT now or in these industries is, you know, they'll get you in cheap. And once you're addicted to it, that iPhone 15 is going to cost you $3,000 Canadian, you know, like we can't win.
Yeah, I guess I'm confused though, because I'm only 31 and this is how tech has always worked like my whole life.
You young.
I mean, they would come out with some free thing. And then, you know, a year or two down the line, the VCs would want their money back. And so they have to find a way to monetize. And then they would push out ads and subscriptions and whatever else. And so like, this is just how tech works. I mean, tech companies come in, they're funded heavily by these companies. And they come out with some amazing product that's super cheap compared to whatever is out right now. And then eventually they have to raise prices because you have to make money eventually. And so that's just how all this stuff works, unfortunately, because nobody can just come out with like, you know, a set price item or service or whatever it is and just have people accept it. People want free or heavily discounted services. And if they can't get it, then they're either not going to use it or they're going to go somewhere else that offers it.
And the one thing I miss with these streaming services too is like with cable, at least every year I can call my cable company and say, hey, if you don't give me a deal, I'm leaving. And they would give you another 2-year deal and say, you know, some ridiculous price. I can't do that with Netflix. Now you say, hey, give me a deal or I'm leaving. Netflix will say, see ya, you'll be back.
You can't even talk to Netflix. What are you talking about?
You can't even talk. Exactly. You know, so I miss that, you know, and usually when you paid more for cable, you got something great with it. Like when we went from black and white to color, it was, you know, an awesome upgrade that we had to pay more for. You know, I love that. I'm only joking. I'm not that old.
The streaming thing I'm not that worried about just because the streaming I can pick up and leave whenever I want, right? And so like right now, I think we have maybe 3 subscriptions and that covers like everything we want to watch. And like we're not super heavy like watchers of newer content and stuff like that all the time. But I think I pay YouTube Premium, Hulu, and Crunchyroll. And so I think I'm up to like $40.
It's not terrible.
And I can leave those platforms at any times I want. So, I mean, I understand it. If you get every subscription, then yeah, of course, it's going to be hundreds of dollars. But I don't know, just rotate through them. You can't watch every platform all the time.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head talking about how these are VC-funded operations where they come in and they start with that low price to get everybody pulled in. And when the VCs turn around and say, okay, it's time for us to make money, these companies have to do something. And they're always loaning or they're always starting off with a low price and then kind of bringing you in later. I think a lot of the bigger companies that we've seen, like Disney, which Comcast, Hulu, you know, just kind of like going through some of the larger, it's kind of hard to keep up with who owns who nowadays. But like, I think a lot of those actually really didn't try to change too much of their business model. Like they already had business models that worked. And they were like, let's disrupt things with this new low-cost streaming thing. And they didn't really try to break out of what they were doing before. And that's why you're seeing ads come back, right? They know ads. They know how ads work. They know how to sell ads. They have an entire business set up dedicated for that. They don't have to reinvent the wheel there. And it's a comfortable place for them to be. And after, you know, fighting this change for so long, they're drifting right back to what they know best, and that's putting ads on TVs, whether you like them or not, and then selling things for higher prices than you want to pay. So here we are.
Well, and that's only because people want it, though, right? I mean, if people didn't want cheaper subscriptions with ads in them, then nobody would come out with them because it wouldn't make financial sense. So the streaming thing doesn't bother me. The things that bother me, though, is the gig economy stuff. So Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and Grubhub and all that kind of stuff, because usually it's the person, the contractor in this scenario, that's getting hosed in order for the company to make.
There's still people getting hosed and streaming. I mean, that's why they're on strike right now. It's because they're not paying anybody.
But that's like a big company. That's like a big company and actors, though. It's not like, some dude that's just trying to make ends meet or something.
Yeah.
There's different scenarios for that kind of stuff. And, when Uber and Lyft first came out, I mean, you were getting rides for, free or $10, or, I mean, it was dirt cheap.
Right.
And the driver was probably getting paid like $2 out of that if they were lucky.
Right.
And so like stuff like that, I mean, I have a little less tolerance for. The streaming stuff to me is whatever, though.
Yeah. The streaming stuff. Well, the streaming, again, that's why they're kind of all on strike, is because they're not really having to pay for any of this. And they're still turning over millions of dollars in profit. Like, they're still paying people very well at the top. But eventually they do need to pay the people making the things, just like Uber and Lyft do need to pay the people, driving the cars around. And yeah, it's interesting to see how all of the pursuit of like higher profits every month eventually leads you down this road, right? Like they're always have to churn the stock price. The stock price always has to go up. There's no going down ever. That's just not something that can happen. And when it does, that means layoffs and everything. Anyway, that's our capitalism rant, I guess. I don't know.
Woo, capitalism.
Sponsor the HomeTech Happy Hour, HomeTech.fm/happy hour. Anyway, let's talk about some new products here that have come into the market. First up, we've got Brilliant. They've got a new smart home controller. It's a $399 plug-in smart home control panel. It's a flush mount touchscreen controller that's compatible with multiple smart home devices. And the plug-in version addresses the neutral wire issue that's been a problem with just the regular Brilliant panel. And this panel offers customizable shortcuts, touch sensor sliders, a motion sensor, Alexa integration, temperature and light sensors. Communicates with other Brilliant switches over a Bluetooth mesh and can be part of a larger smart lighting system. While priced at the $400, the Brilliant controller does simplify a little bit of the smart home control management and makes it a lot easier to install. So I guess this one is just like what you'd see on the wall, but you plug it in this time, right?
Yeah, that's pretty nice, actually. And if you do have Ethernet, I'm sure you could do one of those Ethernet to USB adapters. Mm-hmm. So you just do PoE over it, which would make it pretty simple. But yeah, I could see this as like definitely an item that people want just because they're not going to be able to either wire it up themselves or they don't have the wiring or whatever it is. So very expensive though.
Yeah, price is a big thing for me, but yeah, it allows flexibility. You could put this wherever you want almost, as long as you have a outlet right there, you just plug it in. One thing, it does have the Amazon lady built in, which is kind of cool because I like when they kind of do that, because then it eliminates another device that you already have there. Instead of have this plus her there, you just have this now and you can get rid of one of her devices, right? So that's kind of cool. It is a little expensive, but it also, I think it looks pretty cool. And I like it adds a lot of flexibility with the plug-in version.
Yeah. Yeah, it just kind of expands on it because you would still need to get. I guess they have the $400 Brilliant dimmer things that look about the same as this, but then they also have like some $70 options. So you could go around for a lot less expensive. You can go around and put in the $70 devices that they have, maybe some other lighting control stuff. But if you wanted to keep it all in the Brilliant family, you could do it that way. And then use this as the smart home control panel. They also say they are exploring Matter support. So maybe one day we'll have them in our
what?
In our fun.
This doesn't support Matter?
Throw it away.
What a waste of $400.
And don't buy it based on promises. I'll warn you right now. You'll never know if it will come. Just, buy it for what it can do today.
Nah, if anybody's really good at promises, Gavin, it's all tech companies. No tech companies ever lie about anything. Ring.
Yeah. I mean, so this already supports integrations with Ring, Google Nest, Philips Hue, Sonos, Ecobee, Lifex, however you pronounce that one. August, Yale, Wemo, TP Link, Quickset, Schlage, Honeywell Home, and a bunch more. So they already have a pretty good ecosystem with this product. I don't think that, introducing Matter is going to help them too much, but in the future, if they do it, we'll save a little section for our making them Matter in the future. Seems like they kind of got it figured out already. They don't really need Matter.
They'll just sell a new device eventually. That's what everybody does.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, moving on here, we've got Switchbot has unveiled the Curtain 3. It's a new smart curtain controller. It's touted to be quieter and twice as strong as its predecessor. Priced at $89.99, it can handle up to 36 pounds of weight and features the quiet drift mode, which it will emit noise as low as 25 dB, which is pretty much silent. That's like a fan, like a silent fan on a computer. Bluetooth-enabled device comes in rod rail, U rail, and I rail configurations, compatible with about 99% of the curtain tracks out there globally. Accompanying this, Switchbot Solar Panel 3 at $25.99. So you can charge this thing with direct sunlight exposure. I guess it only takes about 3 hours, and they claim it has improved charge efficiency and it eliminates the need to unplug and manually charge this thing. So it says, according to the company, the Curtain 3 lasts up to 8 months on a full charge. So seems like a pretty good price for if you need a curtain controller for, and you got some heavy 36-pound curtains and you're tired of it making a bunch of noise. It seems like a pretty good option for you, especially for $90. It's not bad.
Yeah, I saw the announcement and I might grab a couple because I have a few Switchbot products now, and I'm kind of liking them, what I'm doing with them. There's one little gripe I have. I have the Switchbot Hub 2, and it seems when I send multiple commands at once, it kind of queues them up instead of does them in an order instead of at the same time. So I got to figure that out because I want some of my blinds to open together and not, one after the other. But with these, I have a similar one, the Aquara ones, which are Zigbee, and they work pretty much the same way, right? But the problem is after buying it, you realize that you need at least a 1-inch rod. Whereas these, they work with a much smaller rod, and I have smaller. In my house, I have to upgrade. HR.
I got you this week.
Damn it.
You're fired.
Well, anyways, that's a good thing. This one works with smaller rods, whereas the Aquara ones, you need to have at least a 1-inch rod. So I'm going to probably grab a couple of these. I need it in one room for my blinds. And I love they're stronger because that also is an issue. I love the fact that they're quieter because sometimes they can be loud. It seems like they listened to the reviewers and the people that were testing it and took their feedback and improved on it. That was good to see, and I'll do my own review once I get one.
Imagine that, listening to customers and, making things better.
What a novel concept.
And it's amazing.
TJ, you got a new place. Do you have any use for this kind of product?
I've been thinking about it, but I just don't want to spend $100 per blind or per, drape, whatever.
Yeah.
We're going to buy some new ones at some point. We're still using the ones that were left here. So maybe I'll consider it once we update. I've been trying to look at actual smart blinds, but I don't think I'm rich enough for that yet. So
yeah,
if you're going to do that, word of advice is, if you're putting up blinds, don't get those cordless lift ones. Make sure, check with products like iBlind and those aftermarket things you could put in your blinds to make them smart if you want, because certain blinds, they have an angle that comes out, and they're not compatible, and all my blinds in my house are not compatible. I found that out afterwards, so just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think I'm one of those people. The only one I would probably get use out of is if I could automatically open my windows. I don't think I'm really ever in a situation where I want to open my blinds though all the time. So maybe I'm just not the target audience for this, but I'll probably get one eventually to play with. But I have my one Lutron smart shade in the den. And that's only because that was sent to me by an accident. So
it fell off the truck. There we go.
Nothing like a $1,000 accident that just lands in your lap. So
it's a free shade. There we go. Not free.
Free for me. Just had to buy $50,000 worth of shades, and I got that one. So
get one for free.
Pretty good deal.
Yeah, not so bad. It's weird that it's purple. It doesn't really match anything, but okay. You do you, man.
I did get lucky. It is white. So
okay.
very neutral color, thankfully.
This ugly green color. It's it was free. Yeah, we have some curtains, but nothing that would I think these would go with. Like most of ours are like decorative on the side of the windows, and nothing really closes over, fully over. So I was just kind of curious if you guys had anything that would use these. Let's move on here. We got an interesting discussion topic about Z-Wave. Do you guys know they're still alive, right? Z-Wave, it's still around? They really want you to know they're still around.
Yay!
They'll never die.
Do they matter yet, though?
If you put them through Home Assistant.
Well, I guess they have a new company that specializes in the Z-Wave chip manufacturing called Trident IoT. It says the company plans to offer an alternative source for Z-Wave chips. I think this has been kind of an issue with their supply chain for a long time. They've only traditionally had like one manufacturer. I think it was like Z-Wave, the company that actually owned Z-Wave, whatever that was. Like you could only buy the Z-Wave chips from them, and that was it. They're hoping that basically outsourcing, or not really outsourcing, but having more places that can make these chips, you can get lower prices, having more places to buy them, and less chip shortages. So it'd be interesting to see what they do here. There's a lot of new standards out there, like Z-Wave or Matter that we make fun of every week. But it will be interesting to see what happens to these guys, because Matter has taken over kind of like, we call it Zigbee. It's not really Zigbee, but it's the same company. And they made Thread, and Thread was kind of like layered on top of Zigbee. But then also Matter is like a subset of that, which also uses Wi-Fi and some other stuff that we just won't talk about. It's basically a logo, because we determined that at this point. But it doesn't use Z-Wave. So it will be interesting to see how Z-Wave proceeds in the future when everybody else is going to have these little Matter chips on them, or Matter stickers on them. And Z-Wave isn't part of that conversation.
Z-Wave is not dead. To be honest, I love Z-Wave. I like Zigbee. I like Z-Wave. Matter still is a couple years away. Still too many complications. And, if Z-Wave even wanted to be in that conversation, somebody could make a Z-Wave hub, that just took all the Z-Wave devices and bridged it into Matter if they really wanted to keep it going. That was, you mentioned one of the issues with Z-Wave was the cost. Z-Wave devices were always more expensive because they had to pay, I guess, licensing and all that other stuff, which kept that cost kind of high. But I really liked Z-Wave features, and I'm finding a lot of these features that Matter doesn't have. Like the other day, I put a Matter switch in, and this was a switch that I kind of wanted to, if there was a power outage, come back on, right? Something as simple as that. It doesn't have that feature. Like you can't do that in Matter, right? And on Z-Wave, you just set the parameters, say, your default mode when power comes back on, you can set the parameters, say you turn on by automatically, or you could say if I turn it off, automatically turn back on in a minute. Or you have things like Z-Wave associations where two Z-Wave products can talk to each other without the controller even being on. Right. And I use that in my three-way light situation where my three-way lights, they talk to each other. They share dimming information. And even if my Home Assistant's turned off, it still works because they talk directly to each other. Things like that. Zigbee has similar features as well. I'm not seeing those features in Matter yet. I don't know if it's planned for the future, but I don't know if they just don't care about doing things like that, right? But those are like more advanced features that make Z-Wave really powerful, really good. Especially with Z-Wave 800 coming out now, you have the long range stuff like that. That I look forward to that. One day I'll eventually get a Z-Wave 800 controller and get into all that stuff. And, imagine you can have Z-Wave devices, at the furthest part of your yard and it can still talk to them, right? Like without having to go through a mesh. That's great to see too. So if they get the price down enough, it'll be more enticing for a lot of people. And I don't think it will die.
They still have a lot of like security companies using Z-Wave, because a lot of security companies bought into using it because they had the first secure platform that was certified basically to be used on security and life-saving devices or something like that. So I don't think they're going anywhere in particular, but I guess the challenge for them moving forward, and we talked about this on a previous show, is like once Matter gets cranked up, like it's an open source standard. Like any crazy manufacturer can just go out there and make a Matter compatible chip, right? And that is it's going to be pennies compared to what these guys are still, with only two manufacturers, be able to make these products for. So maybe Z-Wave becomes the more premium version of what Matter is trying to do in the future. Some of those, like the features you're talking about, are like device specific features that may not be implemented well, they're just not part of the Matter spec, but maybe they are on like Z-Wave now that they have kind of like a template that you have to fill out to be a light switch or something like that. So not knowing too much of the details of these things, but it just seems to me like they're in a race to get the price down at this point in time. They've got security contacts, they've got that market. They've still got a big leg up on some of the features that haven't been introduced into Matter, but like what happens when they are? Like it's an arms race and Matter is going to be winning on price already. So I don't know. Be interesting. They're not dead yet though. They really want you to know Z-Wave not dead yet.
I like Z-Wave. Don't go away, Z-Wave. You're nice. It used to be really awful, though. I mean,
used to be awful.
Whenever I first got into the industry in like 2015 or 2014, if you brought up Z-Wave, like an integrator would die somewhere. So, because they've had horror stories. I mean, I remember too, I don't remember what series it was. It probably had to be like 300 or 400 or something early on. But we had like a Z-Wave lock that was at the end of this hallway, 30 feet away from the hub. And it would not work consistently. Yeah. We had to install an outlet to act as a repeater, and then it worked fine. And so, like, I haven't had any of those problems in my house now, and I've been using Z-Wave for probably about 3 or 4 years now without any issue. So it's come a long way, but their lack of manufacturers and their high prices is really going to drive them out because, like you said, Seth, it is significantly more to buy a Z-Wave chip compared to a Matter chip.
It's only going to get cheaper.
Yeah, I mean, the one we talked about was earlier this year, last year, at some point. It was like $7 or something for like Wi-Fi 6 and Thread and Bluetooth 5.0 and all this other stuff. And you can't compete with that. If you're going to tell somebody like, this switch costs $20 and this one costs $50 and the difference is the wireless technology, most consumers are not going to care about that. They're just going to go for the cheaper one.
Yep, exactly. So, let's keep on our making fun of Matter topic, I guess, and we'll talk about the Leviton. This is actually a cool product, but Leviton is introducing the first outdoor smart plug compatible with Matter. Priced at $54.99, the Decora Smart Wi-Fi Outdoor Plug-in Switch, boasts a built-in light sensor for automatic day-night activation and pairs with Leviton's Anywhere Switch companion for indoor control. This is actually not a bad idea for a product. I kind of like it. If you need to like turn on and off landscape lighting, and you have one of the, you have like one of those transformers plugged in on the side of your house, plug this thing in between it, and it takes care of like smartifying your landscape lighting or Christmas lights or anything like that. It's pretty good idea.
Kind of sounds backwards, but this is kind of nice sounding because of the light sensor on there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, realistically, you could just throw it in every installation and it just works as like a regular landscape lighting setup. But then if somebody wants to smartify it, then you just connect to their Wi-Fi and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I have a Z-Wave version of this already in my landscape lighting, controlling my landscape lighting. So I was actually looking for another one this week, and my key requirement was some power reporting. So, this is Matter. That rules this one out right away. But to be fair, I couldn't find an outdoor one that had power reporting in it. Even the Z-Wave ones, they seem to have taken that feature, the power reporting, out of it. So I wish they would add power reporting. That would just give them a leg up on outdoor switches. Yeah,
it's interesting. And this one's Wi-Fi based, so it's not like it needs to be not chatty about what it's doing. Like it can chat away because it's on a bigger network than like something like Z-Wave or Matter network. So interesting. Or Matter thread network, I guess I should say, because if it's on Matter Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter. So many matters. Anyway, congratulations, Leviton. You matter this week, and with actually a nice little product that gets entered into the Matter Hall of Fame here. I guess I don't know what to call it.
Do you think we'll see this at CEDIA, Seth?
It will be interesting. Leviton, they'll have different stuff. It's a very large company, and they may bring the divisions that work on like home technology panels or something like that, like the structured wiring panels or something. I mean, you won't see anything like this in there, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. Do they have a booth? Gavin, are you on the website?
I had to unload the website because it was slowing down my computer.
Leviton specifically is not at Cedia.
Well, I guess they won't be there at Cedia, so I guess we'll never know. We'll never see these in person, but yeah, it's a nice little product. I'm sure you could grab them at your local Leviton distributor, Home Depot, that kind of thing. So interesting product. Congratulations, Leviton. You definitely matter. Even though you won't be at Cedia, you still matter. Thanks, guys. All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found over on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/449. All right. We've got a really cool pick of the week, and I hate to steer the show back to talking about how you can irrigate your lawn efficiently, but this one kind of takes the cake. Gavin, did you come up with this thing? Because this is wild. This is like called Irrigreen, and it's a smart sprinkler head that basically replaces all your other ones. And it's really kind of hard for me to describe. Like, it's got multiple streams that come out of this thing, and it can like boost and lower its power output so that when you put this in, it kind of can trace the shape of your yard rather than just putting in standard sprinkler heads that just kind of like shoot water out into the middle somewhere. And they say it's more efficient and can precisely spray your lawn exactly how it should be every single time. I don't know. This seems like it's so they've got a really cool website showing exactly how it works. It's if you go to the website and just look at the first video that pops up, it kind of explains. Like, there's a little triangle thing, and this water thing just like goes around the triangle thing, and every piece of grass gets some water. And I don't think you need any water sensors anymore. I think with this, it just covers the whole thing. So this is wild. Gavin, is this something you're going to do? Like, are you going to replace some sprinkler heads with this thing?
No. I saw this thing a while ago and looked at it, and it was expensive. It's not cheap, right? But honestly, if you do the pricing through their website, you do a design and the price and stuff like that, the price that it comes up with is a little bit more than you'd pay for your standard one, but not so much that you'll be priced out of it. And I would seriously consider this if I was getting a new system put in. It's like you said, they rotate, but you program it and you show it where the edges of your lawn are, and then it will not water the driveway and not water the sidewalk and things like that, right? Like, it will go around objects. And that is the best way to smartify this. As an example, my yard currently has across the 5 zones, I have about 20 sprinkler heads. With this setup, I only need about 4. Right. So it would still be a little bit more, but it would be a lot less sprinkler heads out there, that I have to worry about breaking. And it will save a lot more water and give a more thorough watering to your lawn. Now, I don't know if it's a closed ecosystem or it can integrate with anything. That would be nice if they're at Cedia. I'd drop by definitely and talk to them about that. But it's, like I said, if you're looking at getting an irrigation system, even just for the front and the back, if you have like a square lot, this would be perfect for you because you probably just need one in the front, one in the back. Go and do this. It would be so worth it.
Yeah, I was listening to the Gadget Geeks show over there, the podcast, and Jim had the CEO of this company actually on the show, and they were talking about it. And I've been looking at doing an irrigation system myself just because we have a lot of areas of the yard that don't get a lot of water, and so there's various areas of the grass that are super dried and everything like that, and I don't need like a super plush lawn or anything like that, but I don't want to feel the grass crunch underneath my feet when I walk. So I'm looking at some kind of irrigation system. I don't think this is going to be for me for this house, but I really like it. The one that got quoted for my house was 3 heads. It came to about $3,000. But the installation looked super simple, which I'm a fan of, because instead of, installing all the different heads and the conduit and everything like that, you basically just install one head for, I think, 1,000 square feet or something like that.
More
500 square feet.
I think it's more than that. It covers a significant portion of your lawn.
Yeah, like I had one head in the front of my lawn and that covered every single piece of it. So, I mean, it does a really good job of that. It looks like a really cool product. So, I mean, if you're looking for a new irrigation system, or you have one, you're not very happy with it, or whatever, this is probably a good option for you to consider at least. And right now it's on sale. I mean, you can get like $500 off right now, Seth.
Yeah, I just added mine up. It's $2,300. So $2,350 for 2 heads to replace. I think, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 or 12 heads, I guess. So yeah, it's doing a pretty good job. And if it can accurately water the lawn, this could actually get in places where some of the heads don't water very well. I don't know. Interesting product. There's got to be some kind of like computerized part of this, right? It's hard to tell from their website, but like, the brains aren't built into that little thing.
No, it's what you're probably looking at is just a replacement head, because it's a big device actually, where majority of it actually sits under the ground. You'll see a huge base that sits under the ground. Mm-hmm. I think that's where a lot of the logic may be in those.
No, I don't think I'm going to do it.
Oh, come on.
This is only for the front yard too. If I were to like water the backyard, which I don't want to do, because things will grow. This would be, I don't know, I may need like 2 or 3 more heads to do that, which, I would be less expensive overall. Like if I were to do the whole lawn than a traditional system, I think. But, oh man, that's pricey. That's pricey. I'm looking at the sprinkler heads. Even the sprinkler heads, like if you run over it with a lawnmower, it's $300 to $400. So
yeah, it's a little bit pricey to repair. Yep.
I guess it should be, because this thing has like, I don't know, 10 different streams coming out of it. Like it definitely looks like it's a bit different. So I don't know. Seems like a really cool thing. The video of this thing just kind of watering where it needs to water is really cool. And I do like that. No matter how much unfortunately, this is Florida TJ here. So no matter how much I like water my lawn, it does get green, but it still cuts you. Like the Florida grass is just tough. It's not what you guys have up north, where you want to go roll around in your lawn and have a nice, it's all nice and plush. No, this grass, it will cut you. It will cut you.
Need some St. Augustine grass down there, Seth.
That stuff too. It will cut you. I don't know. Florida grass doesn't play.
My grass doesn't cut me, but my neighbor's weeds cut me because they're all coming into my yard.
Yeah,
so.
It's a roundup.
Those herds. It's so thistly.
All right. Well, that's a pretty cool device. If it wasn't $2,300, I might consider it. And if my sprinkler system was completely, broken and not working ish as much as it is now, like I might do it. And it says it can save me money on my watering, right? I don't know. I'll have to figure out how many gallons I actually spend right now watering my lawn, which I really don't know. So it might be worth it. Should I do this, guys? No, I shouldn't do this.
Do it right now, Seth. It'll be the most expensive HomeTech purchase. Live HomeTech purchase.
Buy now. Think later.
Well, the pipe's already there is what I'm thinking. So anyway.
See, look at that. Installation's so easy.
Just got to find the where it starts and cut it there. But that's a project. All right, let's move on here. If you do have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the weeks, or things for us to spend money on, send them on over. Email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, guys, we have some project updates. I have a project I have not done yet because it came in today, but I've got one of these things, which is ginormous. TJ, you were right. This is just ridiculous. It's what is this? The G4?
Oh, you got one of those. Is that the actual PoE version, or is that the USB-C version?
It is the USB-C version, which I will be hooking up.
Oh, that one's outdated now, Seth. Sorry to tell you that.
Wait, can I not hook this up to the doorbell thing? I was hoping if I can.
No. As long as it has the 2 screw terminals on the back, you're fine. If it has an Ethernet port, though, you can.
No, it does not have Ethernet. It just has the USB-C, and that's what I'll be doing.
They made it very confusing because they have like I think that one's called the Pro, like the G5 Pro or something like that. But then they have like a Pro kit that is PoE only. So Ubiquiti out there killing it with their naming scheme.
Yeah, I don't know. It's confusing enough. I am looking forward, at least on this one, for the look down camera that will look down at my packages. Mm-hmm. It always looks down at my package. And then you can take a look there and see if something's been dropped off or not. So I'm very excited about that. My wife constantly asks me to take a look at the packages at the front door and can't really ever tell if there's anything there. The way the current G3 doorbell, I don't know which one it was. This is G4.
G4.
Yeah.
I don't think they made a G3 doorbell.
What I do wish this one was it was in white, but that may actually stand out more than it should, because this one's wide. It's about, I don't know, maybe a centimeter wider than the one we have now. So I'm not looking forward to putting this up and having the person in the house that's going to tell me to take it down, because I can't get the other one evidently anymore. So, and I really don't want to go find another doorbell company to use, because I kind of like this one. I kind of like the features that I got off of it. And I do like the look down camera. They could have saved some room or something without the stupid dorky screen on it, though. I think they could have taken that away.
Yeah, I don't understand the screen thing myself, just because it's so small. So you have to like walk up to the doorbell and like stare at it to see what it says. I don't need that.
Yeah.
I think mine says go away, just in case somebody reads it.
If you can read this, you don't need glasses. That's what mine say. Anyway, that's the only thing I have lined up to do, because I have a booth to finish off and ship product for. And that's what I've been working on all the time, all week. Gavin, what have you been up to?
Other than preparing for my CDO arrival, I got to organize dinners and meetups, and just my presence being requested various places.
Your social calendar,
crashing parties,
looking like security. But no, this week I was just cleaning up a bunch of my Home Assistant automations. It's if you have Home Assistant, every now and then. Oh, and speaking of that, Seth's doing a live update right now. He's probably like 4 versions behind.
There's a core update and another.
Just update all. Right, there's whatever. An OS update and a core update.
You only update like once every 2 weeks. You can't say another one. I mean, they update like every other day.
Yeah, exactly. But every time they release a new version, they release new features and different ways of doing things. It's always good to look back on some of your automations, update them, just for efficiency purposes. So, like with my irrigation, back to the irrigation setup, right? So this week I kind of modified it. So now it will calculate the flow rate based on the average, based on a bunch of mathematics and averages and stuff like that. And now every night it evaluates the zones, sees which zone needs water, based on minimum and maximum, knows how long it's going to take, how long it has to water now to get it from the minimum to what I want. And it schedules it and notifies me every night. So every night I get, a nice little notification saying, hey, we've scheduled these zones to water. It's going to take this long. And it auto calculates all that. So that I'm very proud of, because it's really taken a lot out of, a lot of work out of having to worry about that stuff. It just does it for me now and lets me know when it's doing it. And also, if you just follow me on Mastodon, I post other little things like, a little tip this week I gave on how to automate a Z-Wave network heal. So every now and then, if you notice your Z-Wave network getting slower, it doesn't hurt just to initiate a network heal. And all that does is make all the devices recalculate their routes back to the controller, and you'll notice it just speed right back up. And I've seen where a device in a route was just a bad device, it just needed to be power cycled, but finding that device is the hard part. If you just do a network heal, it'll fix it all itself. So now I have it run once a week. It just does a network heal, not for battery devices, just for the hardwired devices. And, if I ever want to do a full thing, I can do that manually later on, and then I also posted my device count, and, it's a shame. I'm almost like at 400 devices in my house. It's insane.
Jeez.
I don't know if I should be proud of this or I should be ashamed of this, but okay. But to be fair, this has been
maybe a little ashamed. I mean, let's be honest here.
I know. You know what?
Can you add all that up in dollars though?
No. But
I want to report by the time CDA comes around.
No. The wife's listening to these shows now, so I'm not going to say what I am ashamed of is the 60 or so devices that are still sitting in a box in my closet that I haven't assigned a new spot for, and that's on top of the 400 that are currently in production. So those are all my sensors, all my switches, everything. Right. And surprisingly, some people may think my house looks like just a bunch of wires all over the place. A lot of these are just hidden. They're nicely placed. You don't even know they're there. So I think I've done a pretty good job, when you replace the light switches with light switches that almost look the same, they don't, because that was one of my things I had to do when doing all this stuff is I kind of had to sneak in a device without the wife noticing. So I always got something that kind of looked, like it wasn't out of place. So she didn't say, hey, you bought 15 light switches this week? I'm like, no. know. She doesn't even know.
She totally didn't notice.
Those are a sponsor of the show.
She didn't even notice, like, so yeah, all that stuff's on Mastodon. Just follow me on Mastodon, random stuff there. It's fun.
Awesome. Well, my Home Assistant core updated.
See, look how fast that was. While I was talking, you did a Home Assistant core update. Like, that's pretty fast.
Now I'm going to update I got to update the OS still. So that's zooming around back there. I never know which one of those to do. And I guess I can just do them anytime I want to.
Yeah, they're independent of each other, so you don't worry about it.
DJ, do you have projects?
Since last time we talked, I added more Ring solar lights.
Oh, nice.
I'm up to like 7 now, and they work great. They keep charging. I messed up the schedule the other day, and I accidentally had them on from like 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And they didn't really drain the battery that much, which I was kind of shocked by. And granted, we haven't hit winter yet. I mean, once we hit winter, I'm expecting these things to just not work at all. But we're not there yet, so I'm pretty happy with them.
I haven't actually looked. Can you get extra batteries for those?
They're just regular like 18650s, so I don't see why you can't just swap it with anything, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know for sure. I'm sure they have their own specific Ring branded one, but they are 18650s, so
cool. All right.
And they got a little micro USB port, so you can just charge it up right there if you wanted to.
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, I'm sure they go bad over time. Mine have been saying they're only 25% charged in forever, and they have seemed to have worked just fine, even at 25% charge, and they won't get any higher. But I was wondering maybe I got some bad batteries or something, and I could swap them out.
Yeah, maybe so. Because mine charges 5 to 10% per day, which I feel like is pretty reasonable. I mean, especially because I have them on from dusk until like 11 p.m. and then like randomly from like 6 to 6:30 in the morning.
Gotcha.
And that's it. So, I mean, they charge pretty quick. And I only have one other thing going on. So I've been messing with vehicle tracking. And I have like AirTags and Bluetooth trackers, and now I have Tile devices, because why not have just every tracking device possible on everything that I own? And I think right now I'm up to like a dozen AirTags. We have like 4 Tile trackers now. And I'm trying to do like vehicle tracking, so that way I know whenever the vehicles get home and whenever our keys are there. Because basically if both vehicles are home and both sets of keys are home, then I want, one set of automations to go off. And if, 3 of those items leave, then I want, another automation set to go off. And I have a Bluetooth dongle on my Home Assistant, and it does like an all right job of tracking the device. But like, if you go to like the actual like history, it like randomly says that, my van was detected away from like 6 a.m. to 6:05 a.m. Mm-hmm. And unless somebody's only stealing it for 5 minutes, it's not leaving. So I'm looking for something a little more reliable. And so I found ES Presence, which you can do through Home Assistant, and it kind of helps you track different things throughout like different rooms or whatever. You basically buy these little ESP32 devices, and you configure them, and then you plug them in, and then you can use that to determine, if you're in a specific room or how far away you are and stuff like that. Anybody that knows me knows that I am not going to create my own hardware, though. And I know you can like buy these little devices from Amazon for, a nickel each, and then you program them and you set them up on a breadboard, or you put them in its own little enclosure. And I'm just not going to do that. I just want to buy something that just works. And so I went I guess the troubled way, and I bought some ESP32 devices, and I just had trouble setting them up. It's just a big pain. And so I found this company online, and it's literally just like one person, I think, that makes these like random electronics. And for $25 each, I bought a human presence sensor with Bluetooth tracking capability. And it already has the ESP Home and ESP Home already on it, and I don't have to do anything. And so hopefully I get those this week. We'll find out, and maybe I'll talk about them next week.
Very cool.
That's cool. So you're basically having someone build that stuff for you?
Yeah, Gavin, because I'm very late. I don't have time. I wouldn't say I'm lazy. I just don't have time to sit there and like play with things and configure it and stuff. I just want to plug it in.
I feel with the ESP stuff, it's talked so highly, but it's like, it's a lot of work. And, you know, between the soldering and everything like that, like if I could get this guy's contact, I'll ship him all my electronics and just say, assemble this stuff for me, you know, like, because, you know, the other thing is like, I find that every time I try to do something, they're like, oh, and just put this resistor there. And it's like, I don't have that resistor. So now I got to go and order these resistors. You can't order one resistor. You got to order a bag of 50, you know? So I have 49 resistors sitting in a bag in my closet, you know, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, this guy, just send him my bag of electronics and say, make stuff with this and I'll pay you.
Well, I don't know if you can send him your stuff. I think you just have to buy
Okay, I'll buy his stuff and I'll just send him all my electronics, or I'll trade them, you know, just send me your stuff, you know?
Can we do like a recycling program?
All these pieces here, take them and then send me a couple pieces.
Yeah, I think I spent like an hour trying to get this stupid ESP32 thing to work, and like it wouldn't recognize my computer and blah 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 blah. And I was just like, I don't want to deal with this. So hopefully this just works. It's supposed to just have everything built into it, and I won't have to mess with it.
Yeah, the Everything Presence 1 that was made, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it was basically, he made a device with a motion sensor and a millimeter wave sensor in it.
Genius.
And it was genius because the motion sensor is faster, so it picked up right away. And then the millimeter sensor took over after that. But it was the same concept. He just built it off an ESP32 and, you know, sourced a whole bunch of them and did everything. And, you know, but I tried to get one. It kept selling out. I think he has them in stock now, if anything.
Well, these are significantly cheaper than the FP2s, so
yeah,
they're a quarter of the price.
I can't wait to see what you guys come up with on this thing. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I'll link it in the back channel. Maybe we'll put it in the notes too.
Yeah, put it in the show notes. We'll include it in our show notes. I think that's probably going to wrap up this week. It sounds like we're all still busy right up to the show, doing all these projects and everything. So
2 weeks away from Cedia. Woo!
So if you haven't heard, we're having a happy hour, and we'd like you to go RSVP for it. So head on over to HomeTech.fm/happy hour. Let us know you're coming. I will be adding some, add to your calendar links on there. I guess that was a request we had from Greg over in the hub.
Yeah, Greg in the chat's complaining.
Well, we'll get him taken care of. He
never comes out, but he just comes out to complain. So.
That's what we have him there for.
Yeah, I mean, he's part of the ambience, I guess, at that point. So. Yeah, we'll get those added in, and that way we'll hopefully I just made the button, and the little service that I'm using says this event starts in 17 days. So we're only 17 days away, guys. That'll be fun.
We're close.
Yeah, getting there. All right. I think that's going to wrap up another week here on HomeTech. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to support our show financially through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any big pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, the hub, where you can see Greg in there complaining. And, it's just, again, part of the ambience that's in there. But also, we talk about all sorts of funny stuff like dropping mayonnaise jars on the floor before we're supposed to start the show.
Oh, my God, that really upset me. I was in a rush to, finish up my sandwich and get to the recording, and I turned around and I grabbed it and I didn't put the lid on, and the whole thing slid off the side. I hope my dog doesn't get sick because he was helping me clean it up.
What a good boy.
At least the wife was very positive about it. The first thing she said, well, at least it wasn't glass. So, the bonus there, because that would have been a much worse situation. But
that would be awful.
Yeah, always put the lids on tightly.
Exactly. Definitely put the lids on tight. So yeah, that's just one of the many things you'll find over there in the hub. Not we talk about home technology all the time, but we also talk about dropping mayonnaise jars, that kind of thing. So anyway, if you want to help out but can't support the show financially, totally understand. We just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap up here another week of home technology. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Take care.
Till next time.